Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another segment in our Dealer Profiles in Success series. We're here today with David Simkins, and he runs a company called Hyperlink USA. A very interesting company, been around for a long time, very, very successful. They're a master agent from Boost Mobile. And David, hello.
Hey, Mark. How are you?
You are the president and janitor of the company, is what says on your card. That's an interesting one. Tell us a little bit about Hyperlink and how you got started in the business.
Great, thanks. First things first, Mark, to quote a classic book title, I've got to give you a shout out because I'm one of your many raving fans. And as we've all seen on TV interviews, speakers put copies of their books over their shoulder on display for promotion, et cetera. And I haven't written any books yet. So I just had to bring this. I'm not sure if you want to edit that out or whatever, but your teachings have been really meaningful for me and my crew and the retailers, and thank you for it. And in getting the start, the business starting after dropping out of high school. So maybe I'm making up for lost time, looking to get educated by great thought leaders. So thank you for that. Thanks for being at the top of that list. Well, the business started absolutely by accident. My brother got me my first real job after dropping out of high school with his partner installing residential and commercial burglar and fire alarms. And there I was crawling through basements and attics, and got back to the office early one afternoon. Mike, my boss, said to the telephone, "No, we don't do car alarms." I hung up the phone and I asked him why. And he said, "No residuals." And I said, "That's cool, Mike. What's residuals?" And he explained that they bill, those homes or businesses to monitor the alarms and whether the alarm goes off or not. And that's residuals. I said, "That's cool. Can I install a car alarm in that customer's car this weekend?" And he said, "Sure, don't screw it up." Anyway, one thing led to another. Went to the auto parts store, figured it out. Put the ego in front of the skills, and they told two friends, and they told two friends, and built a referral business on the weekends. We were running out of the trunk of my car. I think they call it virtual office now. It's very chic. And anyway, at some point, developed relationships with car dealers and limo companies, and somebody asked me somewhere along the line around early 80s, if I knew how to install car phones. Of course, I'm the best car phone installer you'll ever meet. And drove the car around the back of the car dealership, put the thing in the trunk and ran the cables under the carpet. A lot of our colleagues are too young to relate to all this, but there I was competing with 15-year, 20-year veterans in the alarm business. And this was exciting to me. Not that a car phone, for $3,000 was ever going to catch on, but it was cool just because nobody else was first. If I start now, nobody can say they were ahead of me. And maybe that was ego. But there I was installing car phones all over the place. And on site, built a fleet of a dozen Cellular One vans going around installing car phones for lawyers at the courthouse and doctors at the hospital and contractors on the job sites, convenient stuff there. And evolved, right? Started handling the phones, and the devices as well. And somehow found ourselves into distributing wholesale, always as the middleman, working for the upstream customer, which is the carrier, and the downstream customer, which is the retailers, but never enough bravery to actually face customers. So mad respect to retailers, that my heroes that do that every day. Probably the reason that Hyperlink's never gotten into retail.
Well, David, you are a true entrepreneurial American success story. So congratulations for what you've achieved and what you've built over the years. And also congratulations, you're coming up on 40 years in business. Is that right?
Crazy. I had hair and I was thinner. Yeah. But again, first things first, I didn't do it. There's a funny saying about the problem with self-made men is they worship their maker. It wasn't me. I've been great at accumulating an amazing team, getting amazing talent surrounding myself with my deficiencies. The success is absolutely in assembling the team, but all the success goes to the family and the extended family. Well, 40 years, can't believe it. We need to have some kind of party.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Well, David, don't sell yourself short. You remember what Harvey Mackay said in his book, Swim with the Sharks Without Getting Eaten Alive? He says, every time I hire somebody who's smarter than I am, I prove I'm smarter than they are. And so to some extent, some degree, you've done some of those things and really had such an amazing run with Hyperlink. Kind of take us through that run a little bit and some of the challenges that you've had and some of the lessons learned that you would tell and share with other dealers who are watching this today.
That's a humbling exercise. Lessons learned means we screwed stuff up. And I have had a coach many years ago. If anybody is suffering from insomnia, you can go to our homepage, Hyperlink USA. It's in the About tab, and there's the company story. And I recommend this exercise for all independent businesses, wireless retailers. Again, my heroes. The first step of this process of the company story is make a list of all of your screw-ups. I did. That was humbling. Put the aha associated next to each one. What did you learn? The humbling, life-changing experiences, and then weave it into a story. And my coach then was right. He told me that this was going to be a tool for recruiting, that you're going to share the company story with folks and potential employees and vendors and clients. And if people vibe with it, they're in. That's great. So your question, there was a big challenge, which I say with pun, I got a crash course in working on my business. And there's my trophy, keep in my office there, the motorcycle helmet I was wearing. It was 5 years in, September 3rd, 1986. You don't forget these things. A car swung out from behind a bus over the double yellow line in a school zone and took me and my motorcycle head on. Me and the bike went up and over the car. Long story short, that morning I was a car phone installer, and by that evening I was an entrepreneur. So working on the business, forced crash course to work on the business versus working in the business was a blessing, absolute. Mark, I appreciate you've shared challenges as well. You learn and adapt and make all your stuff better. The didn't know at the time that there was a course on this crash course thing about working on your business. And I get some props here. This is a guy, Michael Gerber, who he's mastered that thing. And very, very long story, very short is playbook everything. So when you're working on your business, ask what's the best way to handle all the curveballs that you know are going to come up, and involve the people, involve your staff in writing the playbook. It can be index cards. Here's another prop. It doesn't have to be rocket surgery. So the challenge of working on your business, not being able to work in your business, try it and write down all the things that you know are going to come up. Spend some time to have your staff meetings, and then test the plays and have the people that run the plays modify and develop them. And you know what? When somebody's saying, "I don't know what I'm going to do when this customer stops yelling at me," that's silly. That's firefighting. Much better to do fire prevention. The second thing, the second big thing of challenges and learning is that ADHD and OCD are okay. Disorder and disruption are things we used to get in trouble for in grade school, and now the Ivy League colleges are teaching it. So you can you don't want to be hurtful to anyone with a short attention span or a disorder of obsessive compulsive, but take care of the little things and do disrupt. Don't take my word for it. You can study up on John Ledger from T-Mobile or Charlie Ergen from Dish, or Peter Adderton, our founder of Boost. There's some great disruptors. Right? They don't have to look too far. Well,
Peter's actually going to be one of our keynoters coming up here. One other thing I wanted to ask you about, and by the way, I think you offered some really sage advice for dealers on, working in their business, really kind of studying their business, looking for what are those key strategies that are going to push that business forward. And, in that light, as you're kind of looking at the business down the road, what are some of those key strategies that you think your dealers, and as a master agent, you're advising your dealers to do so that they can be successful in the years to come, given that we're in kind of a crazy time in our industry right now?
Probably not exclusive to our industry, and also not a new concept, but never more important. Walk your talk. Talk big, and then walk it. Management by service. So if the leaders of these heroes of mine, the independent retailers, work for their employees and work for their carriers and work for their customers instead of the other way around, they'll get there. So having faith, never more important, and learn, continually learn, especially from spectacular mistakes. If a customer is complaining, thank goodness. That's an opportunity to learn how to delight future customers. If a wireless carrier demands compliance, thank goodness, it's an opportunity to make your business better. If an employee quits, heaven forbid, it's a great opportunity to learn how to make your work environment better so that your existing and future employees have a work environment that, we call it the Sunday night thing, that on Sunday nights, they don't dread going to work. Right. In the dictionary, there's a very close association between get and got. So if our people are saying, I've got to do my thing tomorrow, that's horrible. If they say, I get to do my thing, just cool. And not necessarily a wireless thing, but it's kept us afloat.
Well, that certainly applies to a lot of things in life. And one of the things I've appreciated over the years that I've known you, David, has been very appreciative of the way that you build culture inside of your organization. I think that's important for all dealers out there to pay attention to, like you talked about. When somebody wakes up in the morning, are they excited to go to work or do they kind of dread it, And I think you've done a good job of building that into your organization and talking with your employees. Everybody seems to be excited to work there. And
all we can do is set the stage and have the right puzzle pieces in the right place. I'm not going to preach work hard. That's table stakes. We've been blessed to serve so many retailers that dedicate their lives to their businesses, and I'm desperate to whether it's a family day picnic or just a blowing off steam, come snowmobiling and go back or what have you. The work hard thing isn't something I preach. The life balance thing. Another prop here is.
There we go.
Take care of yourselves. Yeah, I'm a geek about when I fly, the flight attendant, after they tell you how to buckle your belt, this is a silly thing. After they talk to you about your seatbelt, they talk about the oxygen masks that will deploy if cabin pressure drops and all that. The thing that I would love for everybody to remember, especially during this time of wellness being so important, if the person next to you needs help, put your mask on first.
Well, again, sage advice. And I'll tell you, I appreciate your kind words at the beginning of this video. Thank you very much for that. And then also want to just thank you for being part of the Dealer Success Summit and sharing your story. And there's so much more that we could spend time talking about with the things that you've done in your life and the way that you've built Hyperlink into just an amazing organization. So I'd like to thank you again for being part of the Dealer Success Summit, and really excited to have you as part of Independent Wireless Retailers Month, sharing your story with us today. So thanks very much, David, and everyone, we'll see you in our next session.
Thanks, Mark.
You're very welcome. Thank you for coming.